dedicated just to movie making. He started off buying a little chicken ranch down in the valley. He built a couple movie sets, he got to work, and by March 15th, 1915, he was ready to open his movie city and show people what we do behind the scenes around here. Now, in the 21st century, Universal City is a fully functioning city. You see that fire station there on the right? That's not a movie set. That's a real working fire station with real working firefighters. Our city also has a bank, a hospital, a post office, a DMV. We got our own zip code. We have everything every other city would have, except for permanent homes. No one actually lives here, at least not officially. And that makes us the busiest city in the world with no actual citizens. We are always busy. There's a lot going on around here. As we get to the bottom of the hill, we'll enter the front lot of our studio. We start to see buildings that you don't find in most other cities. These are our sound stages. Most filming happens inside sound stages, like Stage 12 over here on your left. These buildings give our filmmakers closed, controlled environments to work in. Stage 12 is currently the home of The Voice with Blake Shelton, Adam Levine, and Carson Daly. It is the largest soundstage on our lot. It's also the oldest, so before The Voice even came around, Stage 12 was already the home to some of Hollywood's most iconic locations. Places like Frankenstein's lab, Dracula's castle, Scarface's mansion, and the visitor center from Jurassic Park. We built all of these sets inside the same building. Not at the same time though, that would have been tough. But this is what a soundstage looks like when there's nothing going on inside. It's just a big empty concrete box. You can think of these sound stages as sort of like three-dimensional blank canvases our filmmakers will use to create whatever image they want to show you up on screen. And that could be literally anything. Right now, our lot has 28 sound stages. Almost all of them are being used for television production, and so I'm kind of keeping my eyes peeled right now, because all of our sound stages have red lights next to the door, and if we see any of those red lights on, that means I have to turn my microphone off. The one place that really might be happening is Stage 21, and no red light, so we are good. Soundstage 21 is currently the home of the show Superstore with America Ferrera, Colton Dunn, and Mark McKinney. They are in their 4th season on NBC, and they are working today, but it looks like they're not actually rolling camera right this second. They use those red lights to let us know. That way nobody walks in and interrupts the scene, and they don't have to worry about my nice loud microphone bleeding through those walls. It's 98% soundproof. They don't want to take any chances with that last 2%. Now, most of the production that we see on our lot on any given day is television production. We have a lot of scripted comedies and a lot of competition reality shows like The Voice, Hollywood Game Night, World of Dance. American Ninja Warrior was on our back lot just last week. Now, the sound stages here on your right were designed specifically for television production as opposed to movies. Sometimes we call this area Sitcom Alley for all the classic TV comedies that have been made here over the years. Shows like The Jeffersons, Coach, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Martin with Martin Lawrence. The last couple of years we've had shows like Angie Tribeca with Rashida Jones, The Mindy Project with Mindy Kaling, The Good Place with Kristen Bell and Ted Danson. They're getting ready to begin filming season 4. And Good Girls with Christina Hendricks, Mae Whitman, and Greta. They've been around for the last couple months working on their 2nd season, which just began airing on NBC. The people who decide what go into the sound stages work in these bungalows over here on the left. These little brown buildings, they're super cute. They look sort of like little houses, but they're actually offices. These buildings are used by writers, producers, directors. The folks that work over here are the people that think up all the stories in the first place. They write them down and they figure out the best way to take the story from the page to the screen for our audience. That's you. We got some heavy hitters over here in our production bungalow area. People we get really excited to see all the time. Like Ron Howard and John Williams have offices over here. Illumination Entertainment, that's the animation company that brought you Despicable Me and the Minions. We're about to see bungalow 5195 with a familiar silhouette next to the door. That used to be Alfred Hitchcock's office back in the 1960s and 70s. These days, that office is used by Martha De Laurentiis. She's the head of the De Laurentiis company, and they made the show Hannibal. We have one last building to look at, then we'll be done with the front lot. Over here on your left again with all the windows, this building has 2 sound stages inside it. It's one of the newest buildings on our lot, just a couple years old. And they've already used this building to shoot Hairspray the Musical Live, Law & Order True Crime, the Menendez Murders, and this is the building where they film Will and Grace in front of a live studio audience. So they're always having fun in there. And that does it for the front lot. Now we're moving into the back lot, and the back lot is what you really came to see. Out on our back lot, we shoot exterior scenes using sets that are too big to fit inside a soundstage. We'll start with our metropolitan area, or the metro sets for short. These sets are designed to look like city streets, and we can decorate them to look like just about any city in the world. For example, Brownstone Street, coming up on your right. Typical urban residential neighborhood, could be any city in the world, like I said. Here are a few of the stars that have walked up and down Brownstone Street over the years. You got Elvis Presley, Robert Redford, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ben Stiller, Jim Carrey, Angelina Jolie, all on the same street. That street was also used for some Key and Peele sketches and a couple episodes of Grey's Anatomy. But this courtyard we're heading to next is going to be even more familiar to you. This is one of the most frequently used filming locations in the world. We call this courtyard Courthouse Square, but you'll probably remember it from when it was Hill Valley in Back to the Future. That City Hall building on your left was the clock tower in Back to the Future Parts 1 and 2. Well, some of you might be looking at your screens right now and thinking, wait a second, that building looks different. And you know something? You're right. It does look different. Back to the Future was more than 30 years ago, and since then, more than 1,000 other film and TV projects have all worked right here in this exact same courtyard. TV shows like Ghost Whisperer, CSI, Parenthood, movies like Gremlins, Popstar, The Muppets, they all come out here, they're filming the same courtyard, they're showing you the same buildings, but they're telling different stories. So they want it to look like a different place, and that just means they have to redecorate. We change the colors of the buildings, the materials the buildings appear to be made out of. We redo the landscaping. We can take one courtyard and make it look like a totally different city or a different country or a different time period like they did for Back to the Future. The main street of our metropolitan area is called New York Street. That's where we are now. We call this street New York Street because most of the time if you see this street on screen, we want you to think you're looking at the Big Apple. You've seen this street in episodes of Will and Grace and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Both of those shows filmed in Los Angeles but take place in New York City. And we're going to see a little bit more of New York Street in a minute, but we're detouring because we have something very cool coming up as we make the turn. Over here on your left, this incredible mural. This is brand new. It was just painted for us by an artist named Tristan Eaton to commemorate Universal's classic movie Monsters. These monsters are a huge part of Universal history. We are so thrilled to be able to honor them with this beautiful work of art, and we're so thrilled to be able to show it to you. No, Cherry, this side, this side, this side. Now what we got over here on your right-hand side doesn't look like a whole lot, but this is actually the back of a backdrop that is doing a very important job for us, because when we're filming in our metropolitan sets, we might be telling the audience that they're looking at Boston or Chicago or Washington, D.C., and when you're in any of those cities, you can't see the California hills, so this backdrop hides them from our cameras and helps us to create the illusion of being in different parts of the world. You can also see how narrow all the buildings are because they're all just facades. When you see this side, you can tell, like, oh, those aren't real buildings. All we really worry about when we build the sets is what the camera is going to see. So if the camera doesn't see it, we don't bother with it. And we end up with buildings that are a little bit flatter and a little more narrow, but on screen you'd never really get to tell. And then some directors come out here, they decorate, and then they'll add in special effects like superheroes or alien attacks or giant robots. Most of the really fancy stuff is done digitally. And one director who loves to put digital effects into all of his films is the guy who reinvented King Kong in 2005. His name is Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. Action! I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up in adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times.
All right, everybody, get those 3D glasses ready, because we are on our way to the home of King Kong. Let me welcome all of you to Skull Island.
Skull Island.
Take those 3D glasses off, but hang on to them. You're going to want those again before you're finished. King Kong 360 3D is a massive digital surround experience. It was built for us by the Weta Digital Workshop. That's Peter Jackson's crew down in New Zealand. So these are the folks that helped him bring Kong back to life in 2005. They worked with him on the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbit trilogy. These folks helped James Cameron out with Avatar, and they built this attraction just for us.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know where the people are looking. They're looking straight ahead. They're looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts, because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
All right. Speaking of sweet rides, let's talk about picture cars.
Look out!
Anytime you see a vehicle on screen, we call it a picture car because it's a car that's in the picture. We love our picture cars, so we always try to keep a few of our favorites out where everyone can get a closer look. We'll start with a couple classic TV cars. There's Kit from the 2007 Knight Rider, from the Ferrari from the original Magnum PI. We've got cars from Back to the Future, Back to the Future Part 2. Right next to these Stone Age foot-powered cars from the Flintstones. So we have the future and the past totally covered. Now, I'm a big fan of the Fast and the Furious movies. I really like that we have different cars from different movies in the series here. Kind of a selection. And then right in the middle, there's that gyrosphere from Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And the thing about these cars is it can be tough to tell just by looking whether they're the real deal. Like that tank there at the end of the line is made mostly out of plywood. Don't take that tank into battle. It won't protect you. It's just like the buildings we were looking at a couple minutes ago. What we care about is the picture. And we need these cars to look good, but if they look good enough, we don't need them to actually work. A lot of the cars you see on screen don't have engines in them at all. We'll take them out if they're too loud. The car might be an empty shell or a miniature, or we might cut the car open to see the actors inside better. And all of those modifications are easier if you start with a car that's custom built to begin with, like most of the vehicles in the Jurassic Park movies.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
All the vehicles and props in this section of our lot were built for the original Jurassic Park trilogy. And a lot of the really big pieces here are made out of plywood or fiberglass. So they're nice, they're really lightweight. That means they're kind of flimsy, but that's all right with us. We're not worried about something like a dinosaur escaping. Dinosaurs have been extinct for millions of years, so no. Oh no, the dinosaurs got out there in the bushes! Look out, everyone! They were supposed to be extinct, oh no. Oh, it's okay. It's all right. The dinosaurs are fake. I don't know if you could tell, so I'm letting you know. The dinosaurs are fake. The cars were fake. Even the big ones. The cars were fake. About half the trees around here are made out of styrofoam. We're in Hollywood. Nothing's real here. Not even the weather. If you're watching a movie and you see rain or fog or snow on screen, the film crew is making that happen. Almost guaranteed. Mother Nature doesn't work on cue, so if you want rain in your movie, you gotta make it yourself. That's actually pretty easy to do, but it does mean that when we're here on the tour, we like to check our backlot forecast so we have an idea of what all the crews around the lot are getting up to. And for our backlot forecast, we go to America's favorite weatherman, Al Roker.
Hi everybody, here's today's forecast for the Universal Backlot. It's going to be sunny and dry in 6 Points, Texas. Cool and cloudy in Little Europe. Expect snow and sleet on New York Street. And we've got a high chance of fog and precipitation for Skull Island, Amity Island, and Isla Nublar. That's your forecast for today. Now here's a look at what's going on in your neck of the lot.
All right, well, we are heading into a neck of the lot that we call Old Mexico. And we are going to use these sets to show you how we make it rain in Hollywood. So we'll start things off here with a little bit of thunder and lightning. There it is. That thunder is a pre-recorded sound effect. For lightning, we just flash some strobe lights. That's tough to see in the middle of the day sometimes, but we still do it. Once we've got thunder and lightning, then we can start our rain. Rain, please, Cody. Thank you. All right, we use real water for the rain because that's the best way to get our actors wet. But rain is tough to photograph. It doesn't really like to show up very well on camera, so we do cheat a little bit there. We use extra large raindrops. We always space out the raindrops and we shine the light through the water. That makes it a lot easier to see. We might add something like milk or paint to make the liquid more opaque. But the one thing we don't want to do is run the water too long, because if you run the water too long, you get floods. So Cody, go ahead and shut that water off for me now, please. Cody? Oh no. Oh, look out everybody. We got a flash flood, here it comes! Yeah, we did the flood on purpose too. Of course we did. Here's what that flash flood looked like in the movie Big Fat Liar with Paul Giamatti.
You can't outrun the wolf, kid! Yeah, we'll see about that. Hang on, buddy,
As we head down the hill, we're taking you all north of the border into the Old West. And I do mean old. Our Western sets are some of the oldest Hollywood structures still standing anywhere in the world. A couple of these sets go all the way back to 1916, when the movies were still silent. And you can see we still use them today. It's been more than 100 years, but the New York Film Academy is working on our Western sets. Those classic old Western buildings. You've also seen these sets in episodes of Westworld and Drunk History, but that's just recently. These Western sets used to be a whole lot busier. Back in the early days of Hollywood, Westerns were the most popular genre of film.
You're just gonna stir things up here.
Westerns were kind of like the original action movies. So back then, everyone wanted to watch Westerns, everyone wanted to make Westerns. Westerns were one of the big reasons the film industry ended up in California. A lot of the movie companies started off in New York and New Jersey. They would come out west just to film the beautiful landscapes for their cowboy films. After a while, they stuck around because they liked the weather. And the rest is history. That's how the film industry ended up on the West Coast. Now, just a little side note for everyone. I want to let you know this is about the halfway point of the tour. I'm telling you that to give you an idea of how much time is left. They like me to put the safety rules up on the screen again at this point to remind everyone, please continue to remain seated. And don't forget, we've got this red emergency